Top 5 Mysteries of the Ancient Mayans. Hello dear viewers, in this video we are going to talk about the top 5 mysteries of the ancient Mayans. But before that, let me give you a brief introduction of the Mayans. The Mayans were a civilization that flourished in Mesoamerica, primarily in present-day Mexico and Central America, from around 2000 BC to 900 AD. They were known for their advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and architecture, and they developed a complex system of writing using hieroglyphs. They built impressive pyramids, temples, and palaces, and created beautiful works of art, including sculptures and pottery. The Mayans also developed a complex calendar system and a sophisticated system of government. The Mayan civilization was divided into a number of city-states, each with its own ruler. These city-states were often in conflict with one another, but they also engaged in trade and diplomacy. The Mayans had a complex social hierarchy, with the ruling elite at the top, followed by the noble class, the commoners, and the enslaved. They had a rich religious tradition and believed in a complex pantheon of deities, who they believed controlled the natural world and the fate of humanity. The Mayans were also known for their agricultural skills. They developed a system of terrace farming and managed to cultivate a wide range of crops, such as corn, beans, and cacao. They also had a complex trade network, which extended throughout Mesoamerica and beyond. The Mayans were skilled in metalworking, pottery, and weaving, and they produced a wide range of goods that were traded with other cultures. The Mayan civilization reached its peak around AD 800, but then suddenly collapsed around AD 900. The cause of this collapse is still unknown, but theories include overpopulation, drought, war, and disease. The Mayans were not completely disappeared, as some of their descendants still live in the region and still have their own culture, language, customs, and traditions. 1. The purpose of the pyramids made by Mayans. The purpose of the pyramids built by the Mayans is still a subject of debate among researchers. Some theories suggest that they were used for religious ceremonies, as they often contained temples on top of them and were decorated with religious symbols. Others believe that they were used as tombs for rulers, as many pyramids have been found with burials inside. Some researchers also suggest that the pyramids were used as astronomical observatories, as they were aligned with certain stars and planets. The Mayans believed in the importance of astronomy and the movement of stars, planets and the moon. Another theory suggests that the pyramids were used as a symbol of power and prestige for the ruling elite. They were also used as a place for political gatherings, ceremonies, and also for the public to pay respect to the ruling elite. The Mayans built many pyramids in their cities, and their purpose is still a mystery. More research and studies are needed to fully understand the significance and purpose of these ancient structures. 2. The collapse of the Mayan civilization. The collapse of the Mayan civilization is a subject of much speculation and debate among researchers. The Mayan civilization reached its peak around AD 800, with a population of over 5 million people living in complex cities and towns. However, by AD 900, the Mayan cities were abandoned and the civilization had collapsed. The cause of this collapse is still unknown, but there are several theories that have been proposed. 1. Environmental factors. Some researchers believe that the collapse was caused by a prolonged drought, which led to a decline in agriculture and food production. This theory is supported by evidence of prolonged dry periods in the area during the time of the collapse. 2. Overpopulation. Other researchers suggest that the collapse was caused by overpopulation, which led to a depletion of resources and a decline in living standards. 3. War and conflict. Some theories propose that the collapse was caused by internal conflicts and wars between different Mayan city-states, which led to a decline in trade and economic stability. 4. Disease. Some researchers suggest that the collapse was caused by an outbreak of disease, which led to a decline in population and a loss of social and political stability. 5. A combination of factors. It could be possible that the collapse was caused by a combination of these factors, with one or more of them playing a significant role. The collapse of the Mayan civilization is still a mystery, and more research is needed to fully understand the cause of this collapse. It is important to note that the Mayans were not completely disappeared, as some of their descendants still live in the region and still have their own culture, language, customs and traditions. 3. The use of writing by Mayans. The Mayans had a complex writing system known as hieroglyphics, which they used to record historical events, religious texts and administrative records. They used symbols and pictures to represent words and ideas, and these symbols were often inscribed on stone monuments, pottery, and books made of bark paper known as codices. The Mayans were able to write in both a vertical and horizontal format. This was a unique feature of their writing system. The Mayans used their writing system to record historical events such as wars, conquests, and the reigns of rulers. They also used it to document astronomical observations, religious texts, and calendar information. The Mayans also used their writing system for administrative purposes, such as recording trade transactions and keeping track of tribute payments. The Mayans' writing system is still not fully understood, and researchers are still working to decode the hieroglyphics and understand the meaning behind them. Some of the Mayan hieroglyphs have been deciphered and translated, but many remain a mystery. The decipherment of the Mayan writing system is a complex task that requires knowledge of the Mayan language, culture, and history. 4. The significance of the calendar of Mayans. The Mayans had a highly advanced calendar system, which was one of the most sophisticated in the ancient world. They used two calendars, the Tzolk'in and the Hab. The Tzolk'in was a 260-day calendar that was based on a cycle of 20 day names and 13 numbers. The Hab was a 365-day calendar that was based on 18 months of 20 days each, with an additional 5-day period known as the Wayeb. The Mayans used these calendars in conjunction, creating a 52-year cycle known as the calendar round. The significance of the Mayan calendar system is still being studied, with theories suggesting it was used for agricultural and astronomical purposes. The Mayans believed that the movement of the stars, planets, and the moon had a profound impact on their lives and the world around them. They used their calendar system to track the movements of celestial bodies and to predict eclipses and other astronomical events. The Mayans also used their calendar system for agricultural purposes, to track the changing seasons, and to predict the best time for planting and harvesting crops. They also used it for religious ceremonies, such as the dedication of new temples and the coronation of rulers, which were timed to align with specific days on the calendar. 5. The meaning of the hieroglyphs of the Mayans. The meaning of the hieroglyphs of the Mayans is still not fully understood, and researchers are still working to decode the symbols and understand the meaning behind them. The Mayans used hieroglyphs in their writing, which were symbols and pictures that represented words and ideas. These symbols were often inscribed on stone monuments, pottery, and books made of bark paper known as codices. Some of the hieroglyphs have been deciphered and translated, but many remain a mystery. The decipherment of the Mayan hieroglyphs is a complex task that requires knowledge of the Mayan language, culture, and history. Many of the hieroglyphs are phonetic, meaning they represent the sounds of words, while others are logographic, meaning they represent the meanings of words. In conclusion, the Mayans were a civilization that left behind many mysteries and secrets that researchers are still trying to uncover today. From the purpose of their pyramids, to the collapse of their civilization, to the meaning of their hieroglyphs, there are many questions that remain unanswered. The Mayans were a highly advanced civilization that achieved great accomplishments in mathematics, astronomy, architecture, and art, and they left behind a rich cultural heritage that continues to fascinate and inspire people to this day. The ongoing research and studies will help to shed more light on these mysteries and give us a deeper understanding of this ancient civilization.